Hey, what's going on, guys? Geoff here with the Hookup Tackle. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about another rod that I've been having a lot of fun with lately, and it comes in the Megabass P5 line once again, and it's one of the newer rods that they just added that I think a lot of guys are gonna be really excited for once they understand what the rod was actually made for, but what you can really do on it, and that is this guy right here. This is the Megabass P5 Super 711. So if you guys are ready, let's get into today's video. Nice fat one on the Deep Six, cranking with the new Megabass P5 Super 711 rod. Gotta love it, dude. Nice fat fish. So sick. So recently, we just got in this new Megabass P5 Super 711 rod, and when the rod first came into the shop, guys were like, "What is this rod?" I know Megabass is kind of labeled it as like a flipping rod, but we've kind of come to find out that it's an amazing crankbait rod for throwing mid to deep diving crankbaits like the one I'm throwing today. That's the Megabass Deep Six crankbait. Now, this for me has replaced the Orochi launcher. As you guys should know by now, the Orochi line is discontinued, and so a lot of guys are like, "Oh well, we need a good crankbait rod," and well, I think this is going to be that rod. It's a lighter, more sensitive rod than that Orochi, and it's a really fun rod to fish. So let's try and get another one.
fish. Nice one. Beautiful fish on that deep six. Fat fish. Super dope.
So Megabass has recently been coming out with a lot of different rods lately in their P5 line, which is amazing. Everybody loves P5, light, crisp, sensitive wrasse rods. Amazing. So when they came out with the Super 711, in Japan, the idea of the rod was to be a flipping and pitching rod. And to be honest with you, the Japanese pitching and flipping isn't really the same as our flipping and pitching. It's kind of more light duty cover. They'll flip some grass, maybe a couple trees. But some of the stuff that we have back home, especially in Arizona, you don't really have that here in Japan. And so they built this Super 711 as a flipping rod. But really where it's starting to shine and where it's starting to become apparent of what it really is good for, and is what you guys saw, basically a mid to deep diving crankbait. I personally was fishing a deep six. I know CJ and Ethan, they actually really like this rod for the Blitz Magnum EXDR. So you can go from that mid to deep diving crankbait on this rod, and it works really well. Even before in the past, and I know Ben himself has actually fished this rod, and they will fish a small 1 to like 2 ounce glide bait, which there's tons of them now out on the market. I've personally thrown a tiny clash on it. I've thrown an ice slide 187 on it. So anything in that, you know, 1.5, 2, maybe 2.25 ounces of a glide bait, and you can definitely throw it on this rod. Now this rod is ferruled, as you can tell, because it's 711. It's a very long rod, and so they ferruled it. But don't be scared of the ferrule. It's not going to kill you. Like when you go to cast, the whole rod's not going to fly away. The technology on ferruled rods is amazing, especially since the Japanese guys have been doing it for so long, and they do it for basically storage. It's a lot easier to store this in a small car or just carrying it around instead of having the full thing together. It's just so much more convenient to have it ferruled like this. And once you put it together, if you don't want to ferrule, just leave it alone and it will permanently be stuck in there, I promise you. Especially after like a summer, it's not coming out ever again probably. So Super 711, let me kind of spec it out more for you guys. So it's 7'11", of course. It's 1/2 to 2 ounce lure rated, which is pretty accurate, I would say, overall. 12 to 30 pound line. It's an F7. Now, let me show you guys the bend, and where I don't think this is the greatest flipping rod, unless you're doing some light duty, is that it has this incredibly deep bend. I mean, we're all the way down here, and I'm still getting a bend out of this rod. And then you have this tip up here. And so really where I think this rod was going to be positioned in a lot of people's fishing, especially mine and CJ's, Ben's, and Ethan's, is this rod is basically a replacement of the Orochi launcher that is now discontinued. Very similar specs. You can throw basically the same exact lures as you could on that. But what's nice is that it's a P5, which means it's lighter, it's crisper, you can fish it all day and not be tired. That launcher was kind of on the heavier side, but now that we have this in the lineup, that will replace all of our options. And so far I've been loving it for that Deep Six personally. It casts a mile, it handles it great. I can actually feel the bites when I get them. Like overall, it's a fantastic rod for that style. But again, if you wanted it to be a longer glide bait rod, you can absolutely do that as well. If you want to do light pitching, you can still also do it with light pitching as well. So there's a wide variety of different things that you can do on this one single rod. And of course, I'm an absolute sucker for any time they have carbon fiber. This reminds me very similar to the Mad Bull. Just love that carbon fiber on there. The reel that I've been rocking on this has just been a Steez A II. You can't go wrong with the Steezes. They absolute workhorses, amazing smooth, cast super far, and they're just workhorses. So Steez A II, I think I was fishing 16-pound fluorocarbon on this, just in case if I wanted to fish, I don't know, I could do a deep diving, I could do a mid diving crankbait to a deep diving crankbait, but if I also wanted to throw a glide bait, I had that 16-pound on there as well. So it's kind of just like a very versatile setup overall with that Super 711. So that is the Megabass P5 Super 711. This has been a really fun rod for the crankbait. It just handles so well, and it's a nice upgrade to that launcher that is now RIP, gone. But this 711 has made up for its light, crisp rod. And so this is kind of that season. We're going into summer where the mid to deep diving crankbaits really play a huge part in a lot of people's fishing. So if you guys love throwing a crankbait, mid to deep diving crankbait, this is definitely a rod to try and pick up. If you like to throw glide baits, like that 2-ounce glide bait stuff, I can't really recommend it over the Mark 56. I think at 711, it's just a little too long personally for that size of glide bait. I think the Mark 56 at 7'6" is the perfect length. I mean, it's a fantastic rod. I'll probably do a video on that rod as well soon in the future, because the Mark 56 is probably my favorite P5. It's been an absolute staple and workhorse for me for as long as they've been making them, I suppose. And so if you wanted a dedicated, 1-2 ounce shad glide bait rod, just go with the Mark 56. If you want that dedicated mid to deep diving crankbait rod, definitely go with the Super 711. So if you guys have any other questions about the Super 711, leave a comment down below. I'm sure myself or Ben or anybody else at the shop will answer it for you. So other than that, thank you guys ever so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Johnny.